Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live chat. I see you guys in the comment box or in the chat box, I should say, and that is awesome. Let me jump in. I'm going to jump in and start this topic off with a brief introduction and to give you some things to kind of think about before we actually jump into the content. Now, I've been doing a lot of live chats lately, haven't I, guys, about the psychology of, and we've been talking about a bunch of different things, but I've done more recently a lot of live chats about the psychology of jealousy, whether that's maternal jealousy, paternal jealousy, sibling jealousy, family in general jealousy. This is a topic that continues to be quite, what's the word I'm looking for, popular in the YouTube world. So I think it's only right for me to go back to this topic and point out some things that might be helpful for you to understand. Now, guys, when we talk about moms who are jealous and envious, it's so hard for me because I, as well as most of you, want to believe that mothers are going to protect their children, their adult children. Mothers are going to be a safe place. Mothers are going to be everything that we need them to be, right? They're going to be the humble, modest people that we can talk to when we need to talk to them, that they're going to give us wisdom and guidance, right? Moms, as you could see during Mother's Day or around the time of Mother's Day, moms are highly praised, right? So to consider that a mother could possibly be jealous, envious, is really hard concept. Some of our research in psychology suggests that jealous mothers tend to also show their jealousy in ways that we don't expect. So most people who are jealous or envious, they may avoid you or hide things from you or secretly wish that they could have what you have or be who you are. These kind of individuals tend to just kind of keep their distance. Jealous and envious mothers are different. Research suggests that they tend to operate in very indirect and passive ways. Sometimes the passiveness could be passive aggressiveness. They don't come right out with any of their behaviors. You really have to have the ability to search out in your heart and in your mind, what's going on with my mom here, right? And even if you go online and research with Google jealous mothers, envious mothers, you're only going to find, blog posts or maybe some research that focuses on the characteristics and the behaviors, but you're not going to find the psychology of the woman, the mother who is now envious and jealous of her child. You're also not going to find research on the deep components of who they are. And that's the sad part, right, guys? Because we need this information. So I'm going to try to bring all that into tonight's live chat. Let me highlight as well that jealousy of between a mother and her children. Let me highlight in this point, it's not just a daughter. It is also a son that a mother could also be jealous of. So we're going to touch on that as well. But most studies about these jealous kind of mothers highlight that there's a kind of rivalry between the two. And it's not initiated by the adult child. It's often initiated by the jealous and envious mother. It's a rivalry that is influenced sometimes by circumstance. So an example of this might be, let's say, for example, you have a mom who is jealous of you because you have always had what we call cross-generational favoritism. Cross-generational favoritism, meaning you have always had the favoritism and the love of the adult child. You have always had the love and the affection of the grandparent, for example, of the great aunt, for example, from the great uncle, for example. That cross-generational favoritism is what can stir that rivalry between the mother and her child. That is a depressing reality, because once jealousy and envy of a child, of the child of the adult child, the adolescent comes into play, everything shifts, right? The playing field shifts, the game shifts, things change. It's no longer mother and daughter, mother and son relationship, because the dynamic has become complex because of the jealousy and the envy. And again, jealous moms tend to be passive aggressive and very indirect. So, how do you know that anything that they are telling you to do, anything they are telling you not to do, any advice they are giving you, any encouragement or praise that they offer to you, any discipline as a child that you receive, how do you know that all of that is untainted, pure, and motivated by a mother's love? How do you know that that's the case, right? When a mother becomes jealous or envious, because again, they tend to show their emotions in a passive aggressive way or an indirect way. There tends to be a deep anger, pain, desire to have what that child has. And it's unfairly personal. It's unfairly personal, and I use this term unfairly personal because the child, the adolescent or the adult child never suspects their mother, right? That's the last person you're going to suspect. But it is a real emotion, envy and jealousy. And it is something that can happen even in the parent-child relationship. And so it's deeply painful and it's unfairly personal. You don't have the mental capacity to fathom that my parent is jealous of me, right? And especially a mother. There is also what we call a code of silence, that tends to impact the parent-child relationship when there is a jealous-hearted mother. The code of silence is this, that I am going to hide my deep-seated feelings as much as I can from the adult child or the child or from other people. I can show my jealousy towards my child, but I'm never going to show it towards anybody else because they're going to tell me I'm wrong. Or it could be, I'm going to hide my jealousy from my child so that they can't sense or intuitively discern that I am jealous of them. Either way, it's a code of silence, and it is deeply painful because at some point you're going to find out and have to kind of process and sit with the reality that this is a parent, that this is a mother, right? That my mother is deeply jealous of me in some capacity. There was a research study done a couple years ago. I'm going to post the information in the description box for you so that you can go back and click and see. But there was a research study done by Salovey and Rothman. And I'm going to just take a stab at this and say it was done in 1998. Okay. I'm going to post it in the description box for you. But it was done in 1998, the article. And what I love about what they say is they highlight that a jealous and envious person, whether a mother or anybody that you're around, a jealous and envious person isn't just jealous of you because you have something they want. They're not just envious about you, envious towards you, or jealous because they want something that you have. The reality is this, that the jealous and envious person, the jealous and envious parent wants what you have in the domains that are important to them. Let me go back over that because that's a lot to take in, right? That the jealous and envious person, be it a mother or anybody else, doesn't just want what you have. They have a problem accepting the fact that you have what it is that they want in the domains that they feel are most important to them, right? Not just jealous because you are highly intelligent. They are jealous because they've always wanted to be a lawyer and now you're a lawyer, okay? They're not just jealous of you because you are nice, you're pretty, you get a lot of attention from the family. They're jealous of you because you get a lot of attention from their very own parent. And that's what they've always wanted for themselves, right? So they are jealous and envious because of the fact that you kind of dominate the domain that they find most important to them. And that they find most important to their identity. It's like you're kind of taking from me what I feel belongs to me, even though I don't have it, right? And so imagine having a mother like this. Imagine that in a cross generational influence, right? Imagine that you're the grandchild, and your mom is jealous of you because you get more attention from the grandparents than she's ever gotten from her own mom and her own father, right? In that dynamic, that cross generational dynamic, it's scary because the mother doesn't just want to be like the child. The mother doesn't just want to be like you. They want to be like you in one important domain in their world. And the domain that they want is that favoritism from their own parents. That is the scary reality of that. So as we go through this live chat tonight, keep that in mind, that we're not just talking about people who are just simply jealous and envious because you have something that they want. You have something they want in the domain that they feel is most important to themselves and into their identity. Okay, so let me also drop a new term for you. Let me drop a new term before I go to the chat box and welcome you and talk to you a bit and read your comments. There's a term known as schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. I know it sounds kind of German, right? Schadenfreude is a term. Somebody Google it. Tell me what it says. It's a term. Share it with us, if you will, in the chat box. Schadenfreude is a term that defines, it's a clinical term, a psychological term that defines a jealous and envious individual who wants what you have. And because they can't have it, they become almost joyous or content or relieved at the fact that you have failed. You can't have what they thought you were going to have and wanted, right? Or that something wrong has gone on, or you've been harmed in some way, or you're suffering, or your experiences are no longer pleasurable, whatever it is. It's kind of like that Machiavellian personality trait, the Schadenfreude. It's kind of like the Machiavellian personality trait where the individual is pleased that something is happening to you. Schadenfreude says, I'm happy that you're suffering. I'm happy that you're suffering. I'm happy that you're not being favored. I'm happy that you are being pushed to the outskirts because I want to see this happen to you, because I don't want you to have what I can't have. That is the ugliest disposition ever. I can't even say it even more dramatic than that. It is just the ugliest thing. And I'm very disappointed with people who have that disposition. I really am. The disposition says, I can't have what you have. I want what you have, and I know I can't have it. So I'm going to take pleasure in your pain, in your sorrow, in your challenges, because that's just who I am. Okay, let me go to the chat box, see what you guys are saying. I'm going to welcome you, and then we're going to jump back in because you guys want to know, right? What's happening here? What's wrong with this kind of a mother? What is going on here? Why is my mother this way? So I'm going to highlight that for you. Then I'm going to talk about what the research says. I'm going to drop some new terms for you this live chat. And then how should you see this thing? Let's say your mother really is this way towards you, male or female. How should you see this? So I'm going to give you some information that can help illuminate some of this for you. Okay. All right. Let's start with Black girls getting their shift together. Hello and welcome. So glad to have you in tonight's live chat. Glad to see you. Nancy R., welcome back. So glad to see you. I'm glad you're excited. That's awesome. Dawn 1, thank you so much for that. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Welcome back. Tammy Nicely, hello and welcome back. Longevity rituals. I saw you earlier and you gave us a new term to kind of look up. So guys, I'm going to put it on the screen for you. I have talked about shapeshifters in the past. I will go ahead and post that information in the description box for you, or you could probably find it on YouTube if you just Google my name and type in shapeshifters. But I have talked about that. So thank you so much for that. A seat at the Kids King's table, excuse me, with Tanisha. Hello and welcome back. Glad to see you. The Retro Woman 80, so glad to see you. Hope work goes well for you tonight. Fairy Girl, hello, hello. Glad to see you. Elizabeth, so glad to see you back tonight. I'm so glad to have you back as well. Yes, write to me. I love emails. Thank you for that. Napalm 1334, welcome back. So glad to see you back tonight. Thank you so much. Big Queen Pachahontas Hills. Hopefully I said that correctly. Thank you so much for that. Welcome, welcome. So glad to see you. Sib, I probably messed that up. Forgive me. Hello, welcome. Glad to see you tonight. Thank you so much. Aren't they like the wings of Phoenix? I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that. Phoenix, welcome back tonight. So glad to see you. Glad to see you. Thank you. I'm gonna try this. Hold on. Marquise Jennings. I bet you I got that right. Welcome to tonight's live chat. So glad to have you. Says, good evening, Tamara, university student pre-med. Oh, good for you. And graduating senior this fall. I remember you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. That's so kind. I wish you all the best. Pre-med is rough. Good for you. Eccentric. Hello, welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. Says, mother is the archetype of goodness and nurturing, completely the opposite in so many cases and very hard to reconcile. Yes, it is. Because the reality of this dynamic is this mother, aside from being a mother, is a female, is a woman. And so if her mother role doesn't take precedence in her life, right? It's kind of pushed to the side, then you're going to see most of her behaviors as a woman and as a female, not a mother, as a woman and a female. And sometimes that's the jealous hearted side, the envious side that we are seeing, right? Mom is jealous. Mom is envious because she is not acting like a mother. She's titled a mother, right? She's titled a mother because she brought me into this world, but she's still a woman. And she's still a female who has these unresolved issues on the inside. And so that's what causes the jealousy, right? It's not a good thing because jealousy of a child is like a competition in some ways, right? And which I'm going to cover in tonight's live chat. It kind of puts you in a, what's the word? It kind of puts you in a disenfranchised position or a marginalized position or a segregated position because you can't really bond and mend with a parent, a mother who's jealous of you. It's only when that mother has that deep, desire for you to make it in life and to be successful and to be loved. It's only a mother, that's like that can push you ahead and make you feel safe. And you can't feel that when your mother is like a sibling. Your mother is in this rivalry with you, right? It's awful. Galgala, I hope I said that correctly. Welcome to tonight's live chat. Glad to see you. Says, even after 40 years of service, even after 40 years of severe scapegoating from my whole narc family, I never thought they were jealous of me until I started testing them and discovered they're extremely envious, still under shock. It's possible that the whole family can be envious of you. That's not really shocking. Consider this example. You have a mom who's jealous of you. She shares her envy with your sister, who, after about 20 years of listening to mom's envious stories about you, also becomes envious. Then she shares her envy through anger with your other cousin, right? Or your other sibling. And it can go on like that for generations, Some research does suggest, and I'll make sure I put this in the description box once this goes off, that some families do have an intergenerational jealousy or envy. Because again, it starts with one person who may be a troublemaker, who may be a manipulator, who may be a triangulator, and they know how to perpetuate that jealousy over the lifespan by kind of tainting everybody in that family line. That's a possibility. So that's the sad part. I'm sorry, guys. It looks like my camera is not focusing. There we go. Is that right? I feel like it's out of range again. Tell me if it looks weird on your side, okay, guys? Phoenix says, I'm still trying to understand jealousy. My mom says that my sister is jealous of me. That's why she's so mean to me, but I just don't get it. I'm doing the worst ever in my life right now. Oh, I'm so sorry, Phoenix. Phoenix, hang in there, okay? I know that's rough. Let me just say to you that it doesn't, jealousy and envy doesn't always mean that I'm jealous of you and envious because you have the nicest car, you have the nicest home, you have the nicest, job, career, you have a lot of money. Sometimes envy and jealousy stems from your position within a family. So family role, right? Maybe you're the favorite in the family. Maybe you're more intelligent in the family dynamic. Maybe you're prettier. Maybe you're more handsome. Maybe, whatever. Sometimes it can be your position within the family. Sometimes it can also just be the fact that you are a loving, caring, humble person that most people are drawn to. That could be it as well. Or it could also just be that, you tend to be a very bright, intelligent person and you're strong and you know how to survive. So sometimes envy and jealousy can be just for those reasons alone. So, yeah, who knows? It's possible. It's possible that she is jealous because of that, for sure. Thank you for clarifying that, Gagalala. I felt like I said that wrong. I apologize if I did. Ellie Wynn, welcome back. So glad to always see you in the live chat. Okay. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. Prayer line. Ooh, that's a good screen name. Hello and welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. Thank you so much for that. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. MJ Spy T777, hello and welcome back. Glad to have you tonight. Says, my mom was abandoned by her mom, never knew her father, lost her firstborn son. She always gaslit my success. Now I know why. Oh my, that's horrible. A mother, as long as you were not doing anything like selling drugs, prostituting, embezzling the funds, engaging in some kind of fraud or some kind of other serious legal or ethical issue, as long as you're not engaging in any of those things, a mother should always be happy, right? Always happy for you. As long as you're not doing anything that could be detrimental to your health or your well-being or other people's, a mom should always be happy for you. I will say I have the best mom. She is such a motivator and she's like the prayer warrior, the strong mom in the family. And so I'm very grateful to have a mom like that. However, my mom's mom, a little bit of self-disclosure here, my mom's mom, which is my beloved deceased grandma, we love her a lot. And we were very shocked and sad when she passed away in 2020. She grew over time into her role as a grandma. It took her a while, but my mom in her younger years, adolescence to young adulthood, probably to around 30 something, my mom strongly believed that my grandmother had envious and jealous like behaviors towards her, because I've shared this with you guys before, those of you who've been with me for a while, that when my mom became a nursing student, she said her mom, my grandmother, didn't say one word, not one word of praise, not one word of "I'm so proud of you," nada. And that hurt my mom for a long time. So you can kind of, anytime a parent doesn't have anything good to say, any supportive words, there's something going on there, and you really should take a second look at that. I'm sorry you've had to deal with that. I know that at a personal level. I also see it in my professional circle as well. And that is a scary thing. Elizabeth Pepper, welcome to tonight's live chat. So glad to have you. Says, would you do lives on the opposite end, undoing the impacts? Yeah, those of us who had these parent struggles with our own parenting as a result, how do we ensure we are breaking the cycle for our kids? That's such a good question. Such a good question. What I'll do, Elizabeth, because I do hear you guys, I hope you know that I hear what you say. I'm going to take a screenshot of that, and I will consider that as a part of live stream chat or a video of some kind. So stay tuned, okay? Yes, absolutely. You're welcome. Jasmina, hello, welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. Says, yeah, I think this happened to me. Yeah, probably. And that's why we're going to go through this. We're going to go back into the content in a little bit so you can kind of see what's happening here. T Max says, what's up, y'all? Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you too. Glad to see you. Okay, Sunshine, so glad to see you back tonight. Welcome, welcome. Tootie, oh my goodness, look at that name. Okay, I like that. Welcome to tonight's live chat. Glad to see you. Says that this was me. My mother is so jealous that she tried to unalive me. So tried to abort you or maybe take your life. I'm trying to think of the word that we call that. We call it infanticide. Infanticide. That's when a parent wants to take the life of a child or get rid of the child through death of some kind. Tootie goes on to say, we haven't spoken in years and couldn't be happier. Yeah, totally get it. Totally get it. Oh my, MJ Spy T777 is on it. Schadenfreude says, pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Absolutely. Jasmina says, whoa, say that again. Say it again. Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. I know, it'll take you a while. Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. You have to say it 900 million times and then you'll get it. Say it 900 million times. Elizabeth Pepper says, isn't that sadism? No, it's not actually. I mean, in a sense, yes. In a sense, no. Think of it more in line with Machiavellianism. Machiavellianism, that there's some pleasure and stimulation that's obtained from seeing you hurt. Nancy R, thank you for this topic. She says, you're welcome. You're welcome. I hope it's helpful tonight. Let's jump back into the content, guys. I'm going to come back and make sure that I read your comments, engage you in the chat. Okay, let's talk about what's happening here. Now, at the beginning of this live chat, remember I said that Salovey and Rothman, they were two individuals who did an article on jealousy. And they said it's not just a parent, a mother who is just jealous because they're just jealous. They are jealous and envious because you have what they want in the domain that is most important to them and that really impacts their self-identity, their sense of awareness. You have what they need. You have what they have prized and what they have wanted. Instead of them being proud of you for possessing it, right? They are angry with you, hostile, jealous, and envious. And that hostility and jealousy and envy can come out. It can come out, and it will at some point. It's not like it's just sitting under the surface. It's not like, sorry guys, wardrobe malfunction. It's not like it's just, there under the surface seething. The jealousy and the envy is going to come to the top of the ocean, for lack of a clinical term. It's just a matter of time. And it's also a matter of what's going to trigger that jealousy. Maybe you getting married to somebody is going to trigger that jealousy and envy. Maybe you having a beautiful wedding or graduating from law school or saving up a lot of money or buying your own home or having beautiful children who are smart and intelligent, whatever. Maybe you're courageous and you're going to therapy and you're getting help, whatever it is, it can trigger the jealous mother's behavior. And the envious mom, I should throw that in here as well. Some research studies suggest that a mother's jealousy and envy can sometimes be an adaptive response to the environment. So they really don't know how to survive any other way. In a sense, oh my God, I'm stuttering here. In a sense, jealousy and envy from a mom, again, it's hard to fathom, but sometimes it is an adaptive response because what's going on in your world or what's happening with you kind of propels certain mothers to try their very best to be just as good, if not more than you. That is actually called benign envy. Get ready for the terms, guys, because I'm dropping new terms tonight. B9 envy. B9 envy says, I'm angry. I don't like that you have what I don't have. And I'm afraid you're going to take something from me. That is jealousy. I'm afraid I'm going to lose something because of you. And I'm envious because you have what I want. And I know I can't get. So my B9 envy says this as a mother, that I am going to take my jealousy and envy of my child, male or female, and I am going to overshoot. I'm going to work as hard as I can to be just as, if not better than you. That is considered B9 envy. So some research studies suggest that these kind of moms find that their jealousy and envy is adaptive. It's survival. They get better at what they want from you, or they try to work as hard as you to get what you have, right? So it's quote unquote survival for them. There may also be a blending of emotions with these jealous hearted moms, a blending of emotions. I love you, but I'm jealous. I love you, but I'm envious, right? I'm very envious and jealous of you because of your standing within the family, right? The role that you are in, the role that you play. I'm envious because of that. But I also want you to succeed as well. A blending of emotions. The emotions become so blended that sometimes it may be even more difficult for you to determine if your mom is envious or jealous of you, right? Because you can't tease apart. How are you envious and jealous and then proud of me at the same time? How are you envious and jealous of me and then you're angry and hostile at the same time? How does that mix, right? So sometimes the emotions can be so blended, it's hard to tease it apart. The other complicated piece to this puzzle is that you may recognize that, okay, I do have a jealous and envious mother, but at the same time, I really love and care about my mom. So how do I love you even though I know, that you are jealous and envious of me? How do I still love you? So there may be some feelings on your part that causes that blending of emotions, right? You may have this apprehension and fear, and yet love and deep care and concern of your mom. So it can go both ways, right, guys? There's also a concept known as differential treatment and differential treatment and attention. I almost forgot what the term is. Differential treatment and differential attention. Basically, the idea here is that there's somebody in this family that treats you in a different way than I am being treated by that person. There's also a difference between the attention that you get in the family and the attention that I get in the family. And so those two things cause my deep envy and jealousy of my own child. There's differential attention and differential treatment that happens. And I'm not sure I like that. An example of this would be, I had a client so many years ago, the cutest little boy ever. He was 11 years old. This had to be about 7 years ago. I was working in a school district, and I called a session between dad and son and mom. And they came into the school. They came downstairs to the counseling floor, and we did a session there. And I was literally floored by the dad. The dad would not let his son talk. The dad was cutting him off every few sentences. He was really talking over him in certain points of the therapy session. I had to ask dad to just hold on a second. I know you want to say something else, but I need him to talk as well. He's just 11. Then, anything that this 11-year-old would try to say or explain or express, dad would just be on top of it. He was so hostile and so angry. And so I dismissed the child from the session, sent him back to class, and I had a session with both parents. And I asked dad, I said, there's something going on between the two of you. And what I'm sensing between the two of you isn't healthy. And I don't like it, because something says there's something going on that's deep seated with you that's impacting your communication with your own son. And he broke down and started crying. And he said, I just feel so guilty. I am so, so jealous of him. And I asked him, why are you jealous of your own 11-year-old son? And he said, I am jealous of him because he gets the attention that I've always wanted from my own father. He gets the attention that I've always wanted from my own mother. He gets the material possessions my parents never could buy for me when I was younger. And he also is way more intelligent and insightful than I could ever be. And he cried and he cried and he cried. And I wish, I'm going to self disclose here, I wish I would have had more sympathy for him. I just couldn't swallow that reality. I couldn't fathom it. And I also couldn't find any sympathy for him because he was allowing his envy and his jealousy to override his love for his own child. And I explained to him, and this may be important for you guys to know, I explained to him that if I'm going to continue to work with you as a therapist, you're going to have to get your own individual help because your jealousy and your envy of your son is not only reducing his ability to be confident in his own flesh, in his own mind, right? Because he's probably second guessing, why is dad so angry? He's probably questioning, this is going to impact his self-esteem. But I also need you to get help because your anger is so ingrained and it doesn't feel parental. It feels like a sibling rivalry. It feels like a challenge, like you're in a position to harm your son, not protect and love him. So his envy was so ingrained that it was clouding his ability to be constructive in maybe I should put it this way, to offer constructive criticism, to be a parent, to teach, to learn and to grow. And that's how deep-seated his envy was. So differential treatment and differential attention can lead to that within the family. Let me also say too that we want to go back to what I mentioned at the very beginning, which is cross-generational favoritism. If there's a grandparent that's showing more favor to you versus your mother, then it's a possibility they could be jealous because of that. Now, let me just briefly go over before I go back to the chat box, and then we're going to talk about how you should see this in your own situation. Let me also say that the definition of envy and jealousy is different. A lot of people think that they are the same thing. Jealousy is more a fear of a loss. I'm going to lose what it is or not have access to what it is that I feel that I need or want. Envy is more of this, I wish I had what you have, and I may go to a certain point to get it. And that may mean hurting you. And that's not a good reality. We just talked about benign jealousy or envy, benign envy, I'm sorry. Benign envy is, I'm envious of you, I'm unhappy about this, and I'm going to try my very hardest to either overshoot and be more than you are, or I'm going to try to get up there with you and be level with you, because that's where I want to be. There's another concept known in research as malicious envy. Malicious envy. And this is destructive. This is destructive. This is I want to cause harm to you so that you won't be on top. I'm going to do whatever it takes so that you won't be on top as my child. A jealous, envious mother could have malicious envy where it's buried, right? It may be covert. It may be buried under the surface. Nobody can really see it unless it is triggered in that mother for some reason, Anything could trigger malicious envy in a mother. But this kind of envy is destructive because it wants to harm someone. It wants to harm the child. It makes that parent hostile and angry, like this father I was telling you about. It makes the parent difficult to connect with emotionally and psychologically. And it can also destroy you as the envied, right? Because on the inside, we're not connected. Me and my mom, we're not connected. Something's off here. Something's getting in the way of our relationship. And it's you. It's not me. Malicious envy can get in the way. Also, too, let me say that there's some research that suggests that these envious kind of moms, they have what's called a low perceived control of success. Or maybe I should turn that around. It may sound a little less confusing this way. It's basically a perceived lack of control of their own success. It's a perceived lack of control of their own success. They perceive that they don't have the control in their lives to control whether they succeed or not, like you do. So let's say, for example, you are the adult child who's envied by mom. You have not only gone through school or made a lot of money, saved money, made some huge shifts in your family. You've achieved certain things that your mom could never achieve. Maybe you're the most intelligent in the family. You're really good at engineering or architect or design, or maybe you're just really excelling in your life in certain areas, spiritually, psychologically, whatever. Okay, let's say you have become successful in these areas, and you've taken the initiative to become successful. A jealous mother may have, an envious mother may have this perception that she is unable to control the level of success that you have. She's unable to control the level of success that she wants to attain. She has no control in her mind. It's kind of like a learned helplessness. It's like, I've given up. I don't have the ability to control whether I succeed or not. I don't have the ability to control my life, my mind, so that I can become successful. I can't do that. So that perception of not being able to become successful and control the areas of their life that's needed so that they can be successful, that is also part of this equation. It can cause this maternal envy and jealousy. An envious person, in some of the research on envious moms, shows that, or suggests that an envious person, they are angry not necessarily because they can't have what you have. It's, I can't have what you have because I believe I lack what you have. I lack the motivation, the go-getter personality, the intellectual ability to do these things that you are doing. I lack that. And so this is what kind of accelerates my envy and jealousy towards my child. There's also a kind of like a mindset in some of these moms that is basically, how come you are better than me and you're my child? What roots or genes did you pull from that I have absolutely no access to? And that kind of mentality stimulates hostility and anger in these kind of mothers as well. So keep that in mind as you're kind of processing your own mother, right? Is this malicious jealousy and envy? Is this benign envy or jealousy? And does my mom have this feeling that she can't control her life in a way that I can, that can make her successful? That's a bad recipe, right? The mother who feels she can't be as successful as you, and the mother who kind of hoards on the inside of them this malicious envy that says, I don't want you to get ahead. And I'm going to see to it that you don't get ahead. Can you imagine that? That's hard to fathom, right, guys? All right, let me go back to the chat box, see what you guys are saying. And then I'm going to give you the final part of this so that we can wrap up by 8 o'clock. You need to know how you should see this, right? How should I be conceptualizing, this kind of a mom? How do I need to see this? Okay, Star, hello and welcome. I didn't see you earlier. Welcome. Glad I scrolled back a little bit. Glad to have you tonight. So hello, Tamara, and everyone in the chat. How aware is the mother of her jealousy and negative behaviors? Can anyone other than the adult child see it? Absolutely. That's a fantastic question. I can come at this from 2 different angles, okay? One angle is this, that sometimes the parent can absolutely see that they are jealous and envious of their child, adult child, adolescent child. They can see it. Sometimes they're very acutely aware of it. When it comes out, they can say, ooh, and kind of pull back. Ooh, why was I so upset, right? And then sometimes they can identify in themselves right away that, okay, I'm jealous, I'm envious, and this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm so angry. Like the father I just told you guys about, I'm angry and I'm hostile because I want what my child has, kind of disposition. Some parents are very aware of that, especially if there is cross-generational favoritism. The grandparents favor the grandchild or could give the grandchild more than they could give their actual biological child. Sometimes the parent is very, very aware that they are jealous of the child. They just don't know how to manage those feelings all the time. There's the other side of this, which, sometimes they are very blinded. Sometimes they are very blinded to the reality that they are envious and jealous of their own child, but other people can see it, right? I can see that you have intentionally done A, B, and C, and it's harming the child, the adult child, or the child, and you seem to not care, right? Or like what my mom shared with me happened between her and her own mom years and years ago, where she's wearing her scrubs because she's now going to nursing school, and walks right past my grandma. And my mom said she never said a word. Never said a word. Never said congratulations. Never said, I hope you have a good first day at school. Never said, I'm proud of you. Never said, I'm just glad that you're doing something with your life. Nothing, nada, right? That behavior in and of itself could be hidden to the jealous mother, but very obvious to the outside person, right? I actually have cases where the mother is extremely jealous. And is it identifiable by the jealous mom herself? No. In the cases that I have seen, no. These are cases that have been in my practice. It's not obvious to them. It takes me pointing it out, another family member, another therapist, and then the mother can pump the brakes and start to see where they need their own help. That was a great question. Thank you, Star. Bree, hello and welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. I don't remember seeing you, so welcome. And thank you so much for that. I hope this is very helpful for you guys. Pretty Mimi, hello there. Welcome. Glad to have you tonight. Says hello and hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Glad to see you. Hope this is helpful. HSR 1986, hello. Welcome back. Always glad to see you. DD, hello and welcome back. Says, I'm so ready to receive some deeper understanding on this topic. Yeah, absolutely. DD, you are just like half of my clients that come into my office every week. You are like most of the people who have requested this video from me. We don't have enough of this data knowledge. And let me just be transparent and say, the research, guys, the research is limited. So when I was doing research for this live chat and for the other live chats I've done recently on this topic, I had to literally scrape the bottom of the research barrel, okay, to find this information. And it's also mixed with my own clinical experience and my coworkers, so that helps. But guys, you can't find this information online. You can't. You can find psychologytoday.com has a lot of articles on jealous mothers and siblings and family members, but the research, if you want to find a good research article on this, no, you're not going to find it on online at all. Queen Common Sense, hello. Good to see you again as well. So glad to see you. Tracy Joe Hill, hello and welcome back. Glad to see you. Says that was my mother. She passed last November and I'm still dealing with her abusive ways growing up. Makes me so sad that I'm still getting over this. Yeah, absolutely. Jealousy and envy from a mother is almost like and I told one of my clients this recently, it's almost like a lifelong scar, right? It's a lifelong scar. What makes complex PTSD so impactful and problematic for people who have been the recipient of traumatic relationships is the fact that it leaves an indelible, and am I saying that right? Indelible? I don't know. That doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. It's leaving an imprint. I'll put it that way. It just doesn't sound right. I don't know why it doesn't sound right. It leaves an imprint, a major imprint, complex PTSD. It's kind of like the relational trauma, the trauma that has been caused by a relationship in your life. It leaves that long-term imprint. Jealousy and envy from a mother is the same exact way. It's hard to fathom. It's hard to process. And then it's also hard to experience emotionally. And so because of that, it leaves a long-term scar. So Tracy Joe Hill, this is probably going to be a lifetime of work for you because you have to be able to somehow process it, come to terms with it, try to heal it, and then move forward past it. And that's a whole process, right? Sometimes it takes people years in therapy to get over this. Jealous and envious mothers are very difficult to fathom, very difficult to fathom. Even if a dad is adversarial, psychopathic, narcissistic, mean, it doesn't hit you the same way it does when a mother is that way. YouTube, Google, hello and welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. Says she would purposely sabotage all my attempts at dating or marriage and would support my sister when she dated. It was so confusing. Wow. I mean, without deeper information, I can just kind of give you my assessment on that. Maybe she was either jealous of those relationships or envious of you for having them, or she felt like if you were in a relationship that would take you away from her, you would have to go over that and kind of process what it is. Or maybe it was just the simple fact that you didn't date the kind of people your sister dated. That could be it as well. So without more details, I don't want to say much, but that's a difficult dynamic indeed. See, hello and welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. Says, yes, it's sad. Mine had an argument with me, then started saying I had athletes before, so you trying to be like me. Mama, no, I was first. She wants to be me so bad. I have want no contact. Well, from what I can gather from that, it sounds like a complex family dynamic indeed. It just makes you wonder, is this mom jealous of me? And if so, why? Doesn't it kind of cause you guys to pause? Like, why would a mother be jealous or envious of her own son? It's a possibility. Helen Webster, I hope I said that correctly. Welcome. Glad to see you back tonight. MJ Spy T777 says, I was angry towards her, but now feel sorry for her since she was acting out of fear and not feeling safe. It's not right, but I get it. Yeah, absolutely. You can kind of develop this compassion over time, and which we're going to talk about this, the psychology of reparenting yourself. We're going to talk about this soon, but it's almost like you have to reparent yourself, right? So that you can move from envied to healed, so that you can then deal with that mom and her behaviors and kind of gain some sympathy. It's hard though. Erica Cooper, hello and welcome. Glad to see you. Says, my mom is so confusing. I'm an only child. She never calls. She's never visited my son. She's never happy. She is so toxic. I'm going no contact. I'm so sorry to hear that, Erica Cooper. I hate to promote going no contact, but if that's the only option you have, that's the only option you have, right? And so sometimes going no contact can allow you that space to think, to feel differently, and to reassess. And sometimes you can go back into that situation a changed and different person, and that's all it took. So I can post in the description box my videos on family estrangement and going no contact, okay, so that you can get, kind of like this well-rounded view of this whole thing. B, hello. So glad to have you tonight, and thank you so much for that encouraging and humbling comment. I really appreciate that, and you're welcome. It's literally my pleasure. It really is my pleasure to help you guys. Oh God, here we go with the screen name again. Oh man, I appreciate your comments on the channel. Every time I see this, I'm like, my brain is like, what's going on here? Teneblas Abysmos. I bet you I messed that up so bad. Welcome. Glad to have you back in tonight's live chat. I'm sorry about that. If I mispronounced your screen name, I know I did. Sunkiss Diva 01, hello. I don't know if I welcomed you, so welcome. Says, my egg donor always compared herself to me. Egg donor is her mom. She would never reciprocate the same level of love of things, etc., as did towards her. Oh, okay, I gotcha. She would never reciprocate the same level of love as did towards her. Oh, I'm so confused by that. I'm so sorry. Sunkiss Diva 01. I'm confused by that. She tried to sleep with 2 of my ex-fiancés and take my friends. That is horrible. That is awful. And that is insane behavior. I hate to say that, right? I hate to use that terminology, insane, but it is. Why would a mother want to have a relationship like that with her daughter's spouses, right? It has happened. I had one case years ago like that. It is completely unfathomable, A mother should always see the daughter's boyfriends, the sons, girlfriends, husbands, wives, whatever in that family dynamic as the child as well, right? Like that person is the extension of their own child. It is real. It has happened. It is so despicable when it does. Sunshine says that is so sad that the one put us on this earth, that they're the one who put us on this earth, and now they are jealous of us like we choose to be here. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why most research on jealous and envious mothers says that the dynamic is like a sibling rivalry, right? It's like a sibling rivalry. Siblings don't have to be accountable to each other necessarily because they haven't birthed you. So anytime there's a jealous or envious mother, the dynamic is often that of a sibling rivalry. And so the twist, the twist, the skewedness, the insanity of this is, yes, I birthed you, but I see you through the eyes of a sibling who is now opposing me, and I have the right to treat you like you're opposing me as a sibling, right? Even though I'm your mother. That's the sad and the scary part and the dysfunctional part of it all. Live life, hello and welcome. Glad to have you. No, you are not late. I'm glad you came. Sammy, hello and welcome back. Says, might my mom have been jealous of me when she was mean to me? Without additional information, I can't really say. But are there sometimes parents who are mean, hostile, angry, and the secondary emotion is jealousy and envy? Absolutely. The primary emotion may look like anger. The secondary, under the surface emotion, can be jealous and envy, jealousy and envy. I just don't want you to have what I have, or I just don't want you to leave me, or I just don't want you to get ahead and do the things that I want to do with my own life, right? That could be the secondary emotion, whereas the primary emotion at the top is anger and hostility. That's why anytime as a therapist, I know that there is a jealous mother involved, I really tried to teach the child how to block that, how to build their own confidence and courageousness, and how to build their own mind around that jealous parent. Because having a jealous mom means their so-called constructive criticism may not be constructive criticism. Their raising and parenting of you may be motivated by jealousy and envy. The way they communicate with you, period, whether they're angry or not, could also be motivated by their jealousy and their envy of you as the child. So in a general sense, yes. In your specific situation, I can't really say. Courtney Fraser, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. And let me just say to you guys, I'm going to point out just the numbers here tonight. Briefly, sometimes I get a chance to kind of do like a quick glance at the numbers. Let me tell you, it's 238 people live tonight. That tells you something, right? There's something about a jealous mother that has not only been observed and identified by a lot of you on this live chat tonight, but it may be something that has been experienced. And that is a very sad and depressing reality, right? It's also a very shocking reality because we don't tend to believe in our society, especially in our Americanized society, that a mother would be jealous and envious, but they are. So there's a lot of people tonight that obviously can relate, and that is very sad. Very, very sad. Karen Spalding, hello and welcome back. Glad to see you. Says, not mine. I'm guessing that you're saying not your mom. I don't have a mom like that either, and that's a blessing, but there's so many people who do, And I literally have 6 clients in my practice right now who are dealing with a jealous mom, and it has completely transformed their life, their self-esteem, their mindset, their own relationship with their own child or their own children. It's detrimental to say the least. Queen Common Sense says, my mother has been jealous of me since my birth. She would compete with me for my father's attention. Anything I was passionate about, she would deliberately sabotage so she could gloat. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised in that. Thank you for mentioning the father-child dynamic, because let me give you some information on this briefly, and then I'm going to go back to the content. Tell you how you should see a mother who's like this, okay? How should you conceptualize and fathom and perceive a mother like this? But let me call some attention to the father's attention. There is a dynamic, and a lot of you may know this dynamic. There's a dynamic where you have a mother who's jealous of her daughter. She's jealous of her daughter, not because her daughter is her daughter and she has some things that she's always wanted, but she may be jealous of her daughter because her daughter is possibly a threat to her own boyfriend, male friends, husband. There's a dynamic that psychology has identified where the daughter may become a threat to that mother's relationship because that mother is so afraid that her own husband, that her own boyfriend could become attracted to her. And so instead of mom managing her own feelings, instead of mom getting her own treatment or saying goodbye to the man that may have eyes for her daughter, instead of doing that, the mother then skips over all of that, which would make great sense in the scheme of things, but she doesn't do that. What does she do? She starts attacking the daughter. And so that could be indirectly or directly. It could be passive aggressive or it could be very aggressive. And there's a scenario as well that's attached to this, that sometimes siblings who are jealous, siblings where there's one sibling who's jealous, the jealous or envious sibling may actually become enraged towards the other sibling because the other sibling is attractive or smart or is something that the sibling's boyfriend or husband may like for himself. So that's a dynamic as well, guys. And that dynamic is just awful. I have one case like that now, and it's pretty detrimental. I'm sorry, guys, now I have something in my eye. I don't want my husband or my boyfriend to find you attractive. And because of that, I'm not going to deal with him. I'm going to deal with you. Sorry, guys. I don't know why. The last thing I need is something in my eye because then I have to pause the chat. Try not to do that. But I just want to highlight to Queen Common Sense's comment here that this is a dynamic, and it's a dynamic that happens more than we care to believe. Okay. Phoenix says, holy moly, things are already making sense, but there's no way I could express this to her. She would just deny it. Oh my gosh, this is hard to swallow and makes me feel sorry for her more than angry now. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. There you go. And sometimes when the pieces fit together like that, that's freedom and healing in and of itself. Okay, let me find one last comment before I go back to the content so we can wrap up, guys. Persecuted number 1, thank you so much for that. I'm glad that this is informative. That is wonderful. Nancy R says, I'll never forget my mom telling me that she prayed for me to end up divorced and have to live in a trailer. Wow, that's awful. That's an evil, evil mother indeed. Okay, let me pause here, guys. I'm going to give you the rest of the content, go back to the chat box and wrap up with you. How should you see this, right? How should you see this? Well, you have a jealous-hearted mom, envious mom. How should you see this individual? Number 1, I often suggest this to my clients. If they have a jealous-hearted mom, no matter how old they are, they could be 11. I will still say this is what you have to keep in the back of your mind at all times. That the source of the parents' jealousy and envy has not begun with you. The source of the parents' jealousy and envy does not, has not began or begun or begins with you. There is something going on at the core of this individual. Let's strip this mother of her title as a mother. Let's look at her as the individual. Who are you as the individual? Who are you as the person? Who are you as the woman, the daughter, the sister, the niece, the female? Let's look at that. Strip you of your mother title because you're not acting like it at this point. Let's just look at you as a person. What's going on here? And basically, that is, to me, the number 1 therapeutic approach to dealing with jealous moms. Let's strip you of the title. Let's say you're not a mom. What's going on at the core of who you are? What's going on in your mind, in your heart, in your soul? because something is wrong there. Before we can relabel you as a mom, okay, we need to figure out what's going on within you. So I often tell my clients who are dealing with this dynamic, the problem, the source of the jealousy and envy did not begin with you. The other thing that I often encourage my clients to consider, and I'm encouraging you guys to consider this as well, that criticism, judgment, parenting style, constructive criticism, all can be received, if you will, but I would also give it a second look, right? You consider it once, I would consider it again. What is my parent, what is my mother critiquing me about, telling me about, trying to help me to learn, trying to help me to understand? Like, what does her commentary right now, her comments, her disposition towards me, her supposed parenting of me, giving me advice, giving me constructive criticism, what does this mean right now? You know, is this motivated by, I love you, I want you to be okay, I want you to learn how to behave better, I want you to do better? Or is this being motivated by a foundation of envy and jealousy? You really do want to ask yourself that. You also want to look at the fact that, and you want to see this as well, that if there is obvious confession and obvious behavioral display of the envy and jealousy towards you, you want to put up a boundary. As an adult child with a mother like this, the minute you see that my mother is jealous and envious towards me, that there's been a confession or the behavior has shown me that this is the case, you want to put up the proper boundaries and then apply the proper approach. Because the whole game changes when a parent admits they are jealous of you. The whole game also changes when the behavior is consistent and you know that this is the behavior of someone who is jealous and envious. That's when you want to put up the boundary, because every action, you know, words spoken to you, every behavior should then be second guessed, because you can't necessarily determine, you know, if the behavior, if the constructive criticism, if the parenting is raw and authentic because of the envy and the jealousy, right? You also want to consider that an individual, a mother, a female, a parent who is like this, they have low self-control. If they have the ability to over time impact you negatively because of their jealousy and envy towards you, they have very little self-control, very little self-control. And that says a lot about them. Yes, envy is a powerful emotion. Yes, jealousy is a powerful emotion. We all experience it, so they say. I don't believe that. I've never been jealous and I've never been envious of anybody. I just want everybody to succeed, if you will, you know. I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to be, you know, receiving the same kind of life and productivity that I've had and received. So I'm going to say I have never been jealous and envious at all. No, in all my years of being a child, a teen, and an adult. But some psychology does suggest that everyone feels this emotion. I disagree with that. But let me just say, a person, a mother who displays this kind of behavior or behavioral pattern or sounds envious or jealous, they have a low, excuse me, a low level of self-control. Excuse me, guys. A low level of self-control says a lot about character sometimes. You know, you can't hold back your emotions and protect me as your child from them. You can't protect me as your child from your envy and your jealousy. You have very low self-control. And that says a lot about you. The dad that came to school and did a session with me, he couldn't hold back his anger and hostility. It just came out right there towards the child unnecessarily. And the child literally looked like he was a deer caught in headlights, because he didn't expect this kind of a parent to show themselves in this way in front of a stranger who was me. So there's a low level of self-control typically. Let me also highlight here, in the way that I encourage you to see this is, if you have a jealous mother, you may also have an envious mother. So jealousy and envy may coexist. Jealousy and envy may coexist. These are two different things, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. They can coexist. That's just the way that it is. Sometimes jealousy can transform over time into envy, or sometimes envy can transform over time into jealousy. It just depends on what the situation is. Romantic relationships for the mom, the mother, may be a breeding ground for jealousy. The romantic relationship that they're in, whether it's a marriage, a boyfriend situation, it can be the breeding ground for jealousy. Remember, I said earlier, a mom can be jealous that her daughter may become attractive to her husband or to her boyfriend, especially if the husband is not the biological father. I probably should have clarified that earlier as well. Not the biological father, but a stepfather. And there are famous cases and cases that are in the news, that have been in the news in the past, where a mother has attempted to kill the husband or the boyfriend because he became attracted to her daughter. It's a dynamic that exists. It's a sick dynamic, but it does exist. And so the romantic relationship can be a breeding ground for that envy. And because that romantic relationship is the breeding ground for envy, the mom may then transfer her envy and jealousy onto you, you know? Let me also too say, and I'm going to bring this up one last time, and I'm really trying to drive this because this is very, very important, that schadenfreude, having a pleasure in seeing the downfall or challenges of another person, that is a red flag that something's going on with your mom. Something is going on with your mother. The fact that her tone gets more positive when you tell her that you're suffering. The fact that her face, her affect changes because you say something to her that involves your pain and your hurt and your downfall. The fact that her face changes from flat or unemotional to happy or bright says something. Schadenfreude and Machiavellianism are two things you want to keep in mind, because that individual becomes positive when something negative happens to you. And so a jealous-hearted mom can be this way as well. An envious mom can be this way as well. Oh, you're getting a divorce? Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. How long have you guys been fighting back and forth? You may also find that they become inquisitive. Oh, I want to know the details, or a mother who is like this may say, oh, I'm so sorry that you got kicked out of the graduate program. Oh, that's horrible. Well, should we go out for coffee, or do you want to go shopping, or they may become inquisitive and say, what happened? Oh my God, can you tell me the details? And you may get this sense, and I've seen this in therapy with some of these jealous-hearted mothers, you may get this sense that they just want to know what's going on because they desire that. They want to know what's happening to you. This is exciting, All right, guys, this is tough, right? Who wants to believe that a mother is like this? The research is in the description box. If you want to go back and look at some of this research, I did provide the articles and the links so that you can look at some firm research data, not the things you're going to find on Google, but some of the research that has included these kind of moms and how they view things. So that's in the description box. Let me get at the chat box, see what you guys are saying, engage you for just a little bit, and then we are going to wrap up. Dollface444 says, this is my aunt. When I started puberty, she became dark, shaking my head. Oh, wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me. Sometimes if you have a jealous-hearted mom, sometimes the envy doesn't show up until you start developing, right? You start developing maybe a little more of an attractive appearance. Your mind starts to grow and mature, right? Your attitude and personality becomes a little bit more robust, and that jealous-hearted, envious mother can't fathom that you've become this way. And so they become envious. That can happen as well, especially if you have a mean girls kind of a mom, for example, and I'm doing quotation marks, mean girl, meaning if they have a very competitive, confrontational, socially ostracizing disposition, this can happen to you. You're no different than all the other women out there that your mom's been jealous of. Cozy F says, hello, Tamara. Hello, survivors. Glad to be here. So glad to have you tonight as well. SH, hello. Welcome back. Says, do you run into two unhealthy parents where the father is triangulating with the kids to punish the mother? My family just seems really sick. Both jealous, always had to be the best when, etc. Yes. And I've seen this in a dynamic where both of the parents are narcissistic. Covert narcissist parents can be this way. Sadly, you can have a covert narcissistic mom who hides her narcissism, and you can have an overt narcissistic father who shows his narcissism. And they, their behaviors and ways that they think can overlap. So yes, I have seen, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with that. David Tooley, hello and welcome. Thank you for that. Glad to see you tonight. Jeremy Robinson, glad to have you back tonight, says, I didn't have a mother like that, but I do remember my younger sister and brother putting me down when I got my first job at 19 while I was still in high school in my senior year. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's painful, whether it comes from a mother, sibling, right? Cousin, uncle, aunt, niece, whatever, it's still painful. The jealousy from a mother, though, to me, and you guys tell me if you feel this way, it feels so much more personal, and it feels so much more emotionally destabilizing. Thankfully, I haven't had that experience, but I've experienced the pain of it in sessions with my clients. And that pain just sticks with you, And if you were on the end of the therapist watching the interaction between the jealous mother and her daughter or her son, it's a painful revelation, because sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm watching this dynamic, and I can see where the child, sometimes if it's a young child, they go within, they totally withdraw, they totally shut down, right? Because mom is so up here in her disposition. She's so intimidating and so angry and so hostile, and the jealousy kind of seethes under the surface. I have seen children between the ages of 7 and 15, and some adult kids, but more so the younger kids, I've seen them just kind of go within, they kind of withdraw, and it's like, whatever you say, mom. Or they have the disposition of, I'm scared to talk. I don't know what to say in front of this parent because she doesn't like me, and I feel it and I see it. It's a very sad dynamic. Very. Sequoia, I hope I said that correctly. Welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. This is a very, very difficult conversation. We're going to wrap up here in just a little bit. Cozy F, hello. I think I welcomed you. If I welcome you one more time, it just occurred to me, did I welcome her 7 different times? Cozy F says, do they mask the envy, jealousy with niceties? Sometimes. Keep in mind that jealousy that you see in other people could also be a part of how your mom treats you, right? Jealousy of, oh, you look so nice. I remember your sister looking like that. She was just prettier. Yeah, there you have it. It's a possibility. It is. Xavier, hello and welcome. Glad to have you tonight. Yeah, so glad to have you here. Okay, I'm just going through. Dragonfly, hello and welcome, says, do you mean differential treatment? Yeah, I think that's what I meant. Yeah. And it could be, somebody's in the family is treating you differently, right? They're treating you in a way that's higher than they would treat somebody else. I think that's what we're saying. Yes. Courtney Fraser says, I can't remember any time that my mom ever said one nice thing to me without me saying something nice to her first. That's a horrible dynamic. I've seen that. That's not good. It's like, you compliment me, I compliment you. Other than that, no. Cloud Walker, hello, welcome. Glad to see you. I don't remember seeing you before, so welcome. Says, throughout my childhood, my mother refused to get a driver's license. Just before I was about to get mine at age 16, she went out and got hers so she could beat me to it. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Anne of Hearts, hello and welcome. Glad to see you back tonight. Says, they love hate more than a human sometimes. And it may not necessarily be that they love hate. It could be that they can't control their emotions. They can't control how they feel. They can't control you. And so that's what stirs that for sure. Marie B, hello and welcome. Glad to see you tonight. Just scrolling through before we wrap up. Nancy R., you're welcome. You're welcome. I feel like we don't get the right definition. All right. Rafaela Peterson, I probably messed that up. I apologize. Hello and welcome. Don't remember seeing you, so welcome to the live chat. It says, just remember some things I had to endure in my family growing up. Both parents is narcissist, basically raised myself and my younger brothers, went to HELL and back, but I am finding myself. Good for you. I'm glad that you are finding yourself. Let me say, if you have a jealous-hearted mother, if you have a mother who is envious, you're going to have to find yourself. You're going to have to reparent yourself. The psychology of reparenting yourself is that you have to, number one, face that, okay, my mother is jealous and envious of me. 2, recognize how you feel and think about that. And 3, get on that journey of healing. Maybe I will do a live chat. Let me know in the chat box. I'll do a live chat of the psychology of reparenting yourself and what that looks like. Shine without apology. Thank you so much. I'm so humbled by that. Thank you. I'm glad to have you on the platform as well. Glad to have you. All right, guys. I got to get ready to wrap up here, man. And you guys have so many good comments. Fairy Girl, I don't know if I welcomed you. Welcome, welcome. Always glad to see you in a live chat. B, welcome. Hello, glad to see you. Says, my mom pushed me into prostitution. Oh my God, that's awful. Because she, time and time again, made me feel like I wasn't enough. And that's the best I could ever do. You know, that's sad. That is so sad. I'm sorry that is the reality for you. That's the way you see it. That's the way maybe it was. That's detrimental. Sometimes there are parents like that. There's research that backs this in psychology, that sometimes parents will, quote unquote, pimp their own children, sell their own children, or push their own children into bad lifestyles because that's the only way that they can, quote unquote, survive financially. Or, you know, so many other things that I'm not going to mention in tonight's live chat, but it's a terrible reality. And I'm sorry you had to go through that. Precious V, hello and welcome. Glad to see you. Says, they made me jealous at how attractive my niece is. And I tried to love her when she was a baby. And all my family did was physically hurt me when I wanted to get close to her. Wow. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that, Precious V. I will say, though, that sometimes you can get pushed into that jealousy, right? There's favoritism over there. And yeah, that's a possibility. Tammy Knightfer, I hope I said that correct. Welcome. Glad to have you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. Heartbeat 808, hello and welcome. And I don't remember seeing you before, so welcome. Glad to have you. Says, there are so many Black women like this. I hate to say it, but there is, yes. I've been a punching bag for women of all ages who deal with deep insecurity and mother wounds. Yeah, very much agree with that. Let me say, as one who is, who has the heritage of many different cultures, but my African-American Black side culture, I have seen that, and I've seen it, I've experienced it, and it's horrific, right? It's the, you're not going to get further than me kind of envy, or I wish I looked like you or had what you have. And it's this deep-seated, dark, ugly envy that's cultural. And that's the sad part about it, right? It's cultural. It doesn't just happen with one person. It happens sometimes in the group, right? Okay, guys, I am just going through briefly. Hello, Juan Manuel V. Yeah. Hello and welcome. I had to look at that. I'm like, wait a minute, what does that say? Welcome back in tonight's live chat. Glad to have you. I'm not able to answer that question. I will put it on my radar to answer at a later time. I'm sorry. We got to wrap up, guys. MNL Odell, hello and welcome back tonight. I'm sorry, I can't read that. Butterfly Effect, hello and welcome. Glad to have you on the channel and in the live chat tonight. Welcome, welcome. I'm just welcoming you guys. Unfortunately, I cannot answer these questions or read these comments, and they're so good. Triple Lex, hello and welcome. Glad to have you tonight. Katie did, hello and welcome. Glad to see you tonight. Let me see if I can find somebody else before we go. Danielle Young, or Danielle Young. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. Welcome back. Glad to see you on the channel again. I just want to acknowledge you guys. Girl mom, hello. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Okay. These are so good. So good. Guys, I have to wrap up. Therapy chairwoman, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Sib B, yes, you're welcome. Hopefully I said that correctly. I'm glad to see you as well, in case I didn't recognize you. Guys, I really have to go. I have to wrap up. Thank you so much for being with me in this long live chat. This was a lot to cover, right? It's comprehensive. I'm not going to cover this topic for a while now, just because we've had some really good conversations on this topic. Stay tuned for next week's live chat. I always let you guys know in the community section of my channel what's coming up. So we're going to continue this Psychology of series, okay? Because I think you guys are getting a lot from them. And I really appreciate your feedback on them. Thank you for letting me know they're helpful. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Love you so much. Thank you for being with me tonight. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.